He's a men's rights activist. He brings a conservative point of view to black issues. His mission, to provide a forum for honest discussions about social issues without the liberal lapdogs shutting down the discussion. Broadcasting from the American Truth Project studios in beautiful Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. This is Conservative Nation with your host, JERMAIN BOTSIO.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Conservative Nation with me, your gracious host, JERMAIN BOTSIO. And on today's show, as you guys know, it is Sunday, and I have the number one demon slayer from the South. He is a very busy man and a very important man, Mr. Anthony Allen. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic this Sunday, and I want to just thank people for the donations. If I sound different, even better, it's because I used the donations to buy a very, very nice microphone. So thank you very much for those donations, and those donations will also help to slay these crazy demons even better, okay? Because they're coming out from the woodwork, they're in the haystack, they're underground, and we have to keep letting people know that we can handle these people because they're really, really evil, and they have evil intent, not just for this country, but for every conservative that is patriotic. They have evil intents for them, and we plan to expose them here on Conservative Nation.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something, Anthony Allen. You do sound a whole heck of a lot better. Let me tell you, you sound great. Let me tell you, you sound great.
Those donations, I put it to great use by buying something that would help us sound great.
Absolutely. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens when you donate. You help people like me and Anthony Allen get better equipment so we don't sound like chipmunks. You get what I'm saying? Well, we sound real nice. You can hear us real nice. This is because of you guys. All right. Absolutely. So I just like to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for everybody who hits that like button, shares, and donates, because it does wonders for getting out the truth and making sure that we have a quality broadcast that people can tune into and hear what's going on without any fuzziness. You know what I'm saying? Without it sounding get up. Yeah.
Exactly. We don't want to sound ghetto.
Absolutely. We got a banging show for you guys, so make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. You don't. You just don't. We gonna get it in, and it's gonna be real nice, fun. It's gonna be fun. Absolutely. So, for people who want to join our Conservative Nation Raw broadcast on YouTube, I'm gonna drop that link for you guys right now. All right. Absolutely. So you guys make sure. There's somebody who just sent me a message and they wanted to join the YouTube tribe. So let me go ahead and drop that down for you guys. If you want to join the YouTube tribe, here is the link. All right. Absolutely. And while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and drop the link for Rumble. If you're a Rumble user, you like Rumble, here you go as well. You can join the audience there on Rumble as well. Shout out to Kim Upfold. Shout out to my girl Katie Walker, Chris Paulin, brother from another mother, Joy Roan, Marvin E. Phillips, the great. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Frank Williams, Ron Baker. Shout out to the clan on YouTube. Without further ado, Mr. Anthony Allen, I'm ready to rumble.
Yes, sir. Let's get her done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Make sure you share. Don't treat me like your broke ass baby daddy. Don't you do it. Don't treat me like your ex-boyfriend. The one that you ran from because, you know, he wasn't good at extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean. Right? Don't treat me like him. Don't. Hit that like button. Make sure you share. First one up. I would like to speak about a viral video that was placed on several media platforms, including Instagram. And it's about a mama that's at a children's party that decided to, how can I say, display bouts of ignorance. I want you guys to take a look at this when it come back. I want to get your take on this. A lot of people are sharing this. A lot of people are shaming this mama. And I want to get your take on it. I want to know what you think. Here we go. Make sure you do share.
Come on, DJ. There you go. Not up here. All right, elbow. Oh, wait, hold on. Hey. Elbow, sweet one little bit of the yard. Wait, hold on. Let me put my phone down. Hold on, elbow got me fucked up.
I heard they like that nine, diggy, nine, diggy, nine, diggy, nine. Nine, drop it for the nine. You want me for the nine, diggy, for the nine. Drop for the nine, go, hustle for the nine. You miss it for the nine, go, hustle for the nine. You got me for the nine, go, miss it for the nine. You want me for the nine, go, waiting for the nine. You got to get the wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble bingo. Wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble up, wobble bingo. It's a dog, it's a dog, it's a dog, I'm gonna make it 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 it's a dog.
Bow. So Anthony Allen, let me tell you, that was ghetto. That was ghetto. Let me tell you, ghetto fabulous. Yeah. That black woman looked like she hopped out of the movie Baps. I don't know if you've seen the movie Baps before, but it's about some black women with some big ass hair hats, let me tell you, and long ass fingernails. She looked like she hopped out of that movie. I know people out there, you've seen the movie Baps. You know I ain't lying. Anthony, what do you think about this display here? They're at a children's party. You can see children are playing around. And this woman just starts shaking her behind as if she's at a summer jam jamboree. What do you think about this?
Nasty.
You ain't lying.
And this is something that is very nasty. It's nasty all the way around. It's the nastiest thing that one could view at a children's picnic, a children's party. Now, clearly, white supremacists had nothing to do with this. Okay, this is a skanky black woman and a red Elmo. Neither of these characters had the children in mind. They had nothing in mind except their own filthy lust to project outward this display of, sexualizing, over-sexualizing the children, over-sexualizing a children's party. But, like you were saying earlier, what kind of people, what kind of culture, allows this? These are people that have no moral concern whatsoever. Now, I bet you that you can find this clip on the white supremacist website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can go to these websites, and they will feature this to say, look, the white supremacists don't have to do anything all they have to do is just take the videos and show the videos and say, these are the people that we are talking about. Now, also, this little skanky black woman, that's right, I'm calling her
Yeah,
skanky
she's a
black
skanky
woman.
black woman.
You know, she went away, put down her purse and stuff like that, and then she came back and she continued her skankiness. Now, when she did that, it reminded me of a Bible verse that says, as a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool returns to her folly.
Let me tell you something. That assessment is absolutely fire assessment, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
When it comes to motherhood nowadays, since the family has been decimated by the family court in our culture, mothers have been lacking in responsibility and accountability. They have. You have a place here filled with children and women, right? I didn't see any guys here. I saw nothing but children and women. And you know what the women are doing? The women are sitting there watching this mess go down. There's even a woman filming. Literally, she's filming this. And she's not saying anything. Nobody's talking about the over-sexualization that she's doing, right? This, ladies and gentlemen, is showing children bad behavior. And what will happen is you'll find a little girl who will mimic this behavior. She'll be 10, 11, mimicking this behavior, getting fast. And if you know what fast means, right? When we speak about fast girls, this is where it comes from. They see this from the mothers in the community. They mimic this behavior, and pretty soon, there's a older gentleman waiting to take advantage of that young girl. That young girl usually ends up pregnant on Section 8 and depressed. I want folks to understand this. And what really blows my mind, I don't know where they got Elmo from. You know, did they pay Elmo with food stamps? Did they get them from Ghetto R Us? Where did Elmo come from? Where Elmo is doing the dirty with the girl. Makes no sense at all. And it all boils down to, in my personal opinion, a cultural issue within the black community. Because when you travel outside of Darky's community, you go into Chun-Li's community. Chun-Li and them ain't doing it, right? I haven't seen an Asian girl drop and do the dirty bird. I haven't seen it. Sorry. When we go to Becky's community, Becky and them ain't doing this. When we go to Apu and them, right? Apu, Middle Eastern, Apu and them. I know, you know Apu and them ain't doing this. Right? Navajo and Bigfoot in them. They ain't doing this. So it is, in my personal opinion, a cultural issue. And this cultural issue leads to out-of-wedlock birth rate. It leads to sexual assault. And it leads to young people's innocence being ruined early. Last words on this here, sir.
Excellent analysis. Very, very well spoken. Well said.
Thank you, sir.
This type of stuff here, where every venue is sexualized, where these mothers are out there, sexualizing everything. And what standard, whoever the fool was in the costume, in the Elmo costume, why didn't the fool just walk away from this. No, this fool in the costume, did the dirty bird, whatever that little dance is called, and also the women were, egging this on. There was no man that came up to say, "Stop this. This is for children. Take your little dirty skanky butt home." No one stopped this at all. In fact, one little boy seemed to be as if he was clapping about this thing too. So this is filthy. This is dirty. And, we can get criticized from the Black community because the Black community does not want to talk about these issues. They want to, cover it up, and they want to call us coons, and they want to call us unauthentic because we are exposing this. The reason that we are exposing this is because we want it to stop. The reason this has been going on so long is because Black people, Black liberals, Black Democrats want this covered up in order to continue this. And this must stop now. And this is why it gets exposed to the light. This darkness is exposed to the light.
Absolutely. It has to be exposed. And the leaders in the Black community, white liberals, they don't want people to see this. They really don't. They don't want people to talk about it. When you start talking about it, they call you coons and everything, and they say this too. Well, white people do it too. They have that disease. You know that disease, right? A lot of women have that disease too. It's called, well, men do it too disease. We're about to speak about them too. But that's one of the main reasons why Black people never change, is because they have a female mentality. And that female mentality does not want to accept accountability. Never, ever, ever. Never. That's why there is a saying in the Black community. You could catch a Black woman ready to say it. You could catch a Black man who was raised by his mama ready to say it. Well, I understand everything you're saying, Anthony Allen, but I just want to let you know white people do it too. So we're not going to speak about this because white people do it too. All right? That's the way they act. And when you have folks who think in that manner, with that line of thinking and attitude, you will never, ever, ever get anywhere with them. And you can see with the Black community, female attitude, female line of thinking, well, white people do it too. Guess what? They still languishing in dysfunctional behavior. Yes. That's it. It's crazy. Let's go ahead and move forward. I want to go ahead and give some folks a shout out here. First shout out goes out to Leanne and Jerome Glass. Donated, took our challenge on PayPal, and challenges 10 more folks for the, what was this, $10 challenge. Shout out to Leanne Glass and Jerome Glass. And somebody took their challenge. I don't know if they knew it or not. Greg Roan. Shout out to Greg Roan. Donated. I believe Greg Roan is on Facebook. Shout out to Greg Roan and Leanne and Jerome Glass. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, thank you, Greg and Leanne. I appreciate that very, very much. Excellent. And it's going to be put to great use once again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share, okay? Absolutely. Next one up, I'd like to speak about a case that everybody and their mama's mama is speaking about right now. And it's a case about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Men in this country have really taken a strong fonding for this case because of the severity of the circumstances in there and how relatable the case is to a lot of them in their life. Everybody and their mama's mama know a Amber Heard out there. Let me tell you. Everybody got an Amber Heard in their life. Men and women, let me tell you. And one thing in this country that doesn't get talked about enough is toxic femininity. we have a very, very big problem in this country when it comes to speaking about the problems between men and women. It seems like we can speak all day and bash men all day long, right? Look at 50 Cent. When he was at the Super Bowl, he was a little bit chubby. You know what all the women started doing? They started laughing and calling him fat. There were memes out there. That's the way they treat men. Had that been a woman and guys were doing that, right? Because trust me out there, ladies, guys would love to roast fat women. They roast them when you ain't around. Excuse me. When you ain't around, the guys are roasting fat women. So when we have things of this nature, where it's kind of like a tit for tat, where it's a, hey, that's not right to say, but then on the other hand, it's okay to say it on their end, it becomes a very big problem. There's an attitude, there's a disease out there of what I call, well, men do it too. It's the same disease a lot of black folks have when they say, well, white people do it too. It's a deflection tactic, and it's a female deflection tactic. It's a nasty one, let me tell you. I want to go ahead and show you guys this clip that is making its rounds around the web right now. It's with Johnny Depp speaking about Amber Heard. He plays a small clip, very small clip, of her admitting to beating on him. When it comes back, I want to get you guys' take on this. It seems like there's a lot of women nowadays who are upset to hear that, there's men out there who have been taken advantage of, who are victims that never get any attention or justice. It seems like they don't like that. Take a look at this. Make sure you guys share.
That is Amber yelling at Johnny, the verbal altercation after a...
I did not punch you. I did not deck you.
That is Amber yelling at Johnny, the verbal altercation after a physical one between the two.
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. You're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
How are you?
What am I supposed to do? Do this? I'm not sitting here about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're a baby.
The audio of the undated brawl played in court after he revealed new claims from another incident where his finger was famously severed.
I was looking directly at my bones sticking out.
For the first time, Johnny on the record, alleging his wife threw not one, but 2 bottles of vodka at him after an argument in 2015.
She threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere. And then I looked down and realized that the tip of my finger had been severed.
And while Amber has previously denied Johnny's allegations, he insisted it happened in Australia 1 month after their wedding.
I knew in my heart, this is not life.
And Depp claimed Amber left a rather disgusting present for him after they argued around the time of her 30th birthday.
My side of the bed was human fecal matter, and she tried to blame it on the dogs. Sorry, I could not agree with her. I'd lived with those dogs. I picked up their fun. It was not the dogs.
Johnny took the stand for a second day and immediately took on his ex-wife.
She's a need for conflict. She's a need for violence. It erupts out of nowhere, and Miss Heard could very easily drink 2 bottles of wine per night. Well, not a problem.
He testified Amber targeted him physically,
Throwing a TV remote at my head.
and verbally.
Tell me what a bad father I was, and that I had no idea how to parent. It's to slice you up. It's to bring you down. It's to demean you.
He testified that Amber's actions made him more likely to use drugs, like he had begun to do when he was 11, amid abuse from his mom.
You start to slowly realize that you are in a relationship
Dating mama.
with your mother, in a sense.
And he made
Shout out to
these
Jesse Lee
stunning
Peterson.
claims.
Ms. Heard had spoken of suicide on a couple of occasions. Many times when I would try to leave, she would stop me at the elevator with the security guards crying, screaming, you know, I can't live without you. I'm gonna die.
So why did you stay with Miss Heard given this type of behavior?
I suppose because my father stayed.
And we're joined once again by...
Your father stayed, and gosh darn it, she'll try to rape you for child support. Ruin your life. Ruin your life. There's a lot of women right now who are secure in their marriage only because your husband fear financial ruin and you snatching and running away with the children, ladies. I want you to know. I wholly want you to know that. And some of y'all probably even use the, hey, if you ever cheat on me, you ever do it, I'm gonna take all your money, I'm gonna take your children. I bet you do that too, huh? Anthony Allen, let me tell you, there's millions of Amber Heards out there. B.I. itches with an itch to ruin your life. Let me tell you. What do you think about this here? This man was living in hell. If he try to leave her, she trying to kill herself. If he stays, she making up lies and destroying opportunities for him. It's like he can't even get away or do nothing. What do you think?
I tell you what, this Amber Heard is absolutely disgusting.
Oh my goodness!
You know, and there are many men that are stuck in situations like that because they know that the court system, women are entitled. Okay, they know that they have to be very, very careful on how to get out of this horrific situation. Because if there are children involved, guess what? You know, they could take the children, label you a bad father, an alcoholic, a drunk, a crazy man. And some of these court systems will believe the woman. And next thing you know, there's this guy that cannot see his children because the court will follow through and believe these, you know, crazy women.
Yep.
There'll be some kind of high, you know, crazy child support that leaves a man broke. If there's no children involved, that man still has to be very, very careful and how to leave, because once again, the women are entitled to, you know, ruin a man financially. There have been a lot of talk about this for the last probably 20 years, that, you know, how these men are being ruined because of these marriages and how these women are taking advantage of this situation. You know, most men, they try to work things out.
Yep.
Okay. That's what they do. They really do want to work things out. And I think the insight for Johnny Depp, when he said that he was abused by his mother, so he actually married someone just like his mama. And then why did he stay? Because he saw his dad stay in that situation. He wanted to be strong. He wanted the best for his family. And he has come to the conclusion that, you know what, his mother's abuse is not the reason he should stay. And his dad's staying there with his abusive wife isn't a reason for him to stay. And he needs to get out of that situation. Now, he's a very, very rich person, so she will get some, you know, money out of this. But the bottom line is, for rich or poor, you know, there comes a time when men say enough is enough, and they have got to leave. And on the flip side of this, sometimes, Jermaine, people who see and understand a person, a man being stuck in this, they really do think that guy should just jump up and just haul off and leave. But men have to be careful about this. Now, a woman can just jump up and leave, okay? But a man, if he's smart, he better be very, very careful to make his exit. Because if he takes the emotional route like a woman would, he's going to have his butt handed to him and be dead broke.
Absolutely.
So he better be very, very careful. So don't think that when a man is being careful, that he's being foolish. He's probably being very, very wise.
He is, Anthony Allen. There's no shelters out there for battered men by bitches. Let me tell you.
Well
there
said.
isn't. It's not a hotline that men could say, you know what? I have a bitch at home here. I can't even breathe. I mean, she starts fights, this and that. My mental state is all confused. She burning my clothes and everything, right? There isn't, I want ladies to understand, there isn't a batters men shelter out there where men can call, right? Because there's tons of men out there who've been abused. They have nobody to call. But for women, you have resources through the wazoo when it comes to domestic violence, which is crazy when we take a look at the numbers, right, ladies? Yeah, remember we did that? Yeah, we don't want to do that again, which is crazy. So when it comes down to it, Anthony Allen, a lot of these men don't have too many options. And they have to be very careful, just like it said, when making an exit, because if they make a hasty exit, they don't take their time and do the right thing, they can be financially ruined. And a lot of women don't understand that. For a woman, she can take off and leave. Finances don't really impact you, except for your own. But for the man, society still holds him responsible. No matter how, how can I say, how much you think, the world is fair when it comes to men and women. They still hold men responsible in that manner. So it's a very, very, very dangerous situation. And last but not least, Anthony Allen, the fact that somebody can make up a lie and they must be believed is the most dangerous thing on this side of heaven. It really is.
It is.
And I want women to understand that's why you have so many men cheating, so many men not being honest. It's because a lot of it is because of the female inside of them, the bitch inside of them, right? And a lot of them it's because of the culture. When you have somebody who can make up a lie like this and ruin your life, you're very, very cautious around that individual. You're not very honest around that individual because of the power that individual has in society. And I want the women to understand how evil this is, because it's a real detriment to how men look at you. And most men are not going to be honest as me and Anthony Allen on here. But if you ask most men, they'll let you know. To be honest, they'll let you know the state of how they see most women out there, right? And it's not good. So I just want to point that out. Now, I know there's going to be the crowd out there, right? Remember I said there's a disease of folks out there. Well, men do it too, crowd. I want to let you know there's men who do this too, yes. But we're not talking about them right now. And there's fewer men that engage in this type of nonsense than anything, because men can't be, go around and say things and be automatically believed, especially when it comes to a woman. Last words here, sir.
Yeah, the other point is that in these situations, in this he said, she said, a lawyer will take a woman's case pro bono. Okay. She didn't have to have any money whatsoever. That lawyer will take that case because he knows the woman will be believed. And this lawyer can take this woman's case. And guess what? Get it back from the man some kind of way. Court costs will always generally be, the responsibility of the man. So like these lawyers will take these cases and just continue to suck and ruin that man's life. In Tennessee and in other states, they have no fault, which means that these women that come with these cases, they usually get like their face cracked because they say, we are not blaming anyone for this. You want a divorce? Guess what? Even Steven, you get half of all the bad stuff and all the good stuff. So we do want people to move toward like no fault divorce. All this idea that men are bad, men get screwed. That should stop. It needs to stop because this happens so frequently, and it can drive men away from being honest about who women are.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because when I speak to men and there's no women around, they're quite honest about how bitchy most women are. They are, and I'm quite honest about it. I say this on the show all the time that I don't like most women, and it's because of the nature that they have. A lot of them are, super emotional. A lot of them do the expose, right? A lot of them are not very honest at all. And when it comes down to the culture, a lot of them, let's just be honest, are bratty bitches. I just don't like it. I don't. I'm just very honest about it. A lot of the guys out there, let me tell you, the beta male, I don't like them either. They think, act, and feel like a lot of the feminist women out there. So there's a point where men got to be honest and women have to be honest as well. And when we start doing that, we start getting somewhere. You get what I'm saying, Anthony Allen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, being honest all the way across the board. But it seems like because most men are raised by their mama nowadays and they fear the emotional backlash, right? Because they know that a lot of women have big mouth. The mouth scares a lot of men. They don't want to be honest, and I think is a detriment to our society. The men need to be honest. They need to be strong, and they need to start calling the law on these women. Point blank, period. They need to. Gentlemen out there, call the law. I've called the law, let me tell you, and I don't feel bad. I call the law with a smile. Call the law, gentlemen.
Yes.
Call the law, because let me tell you something. When the shoe's on the other foot, they don't have any qualms about calling the law and ruining your life and then crying about it later. Don't take that chance. You as a man, don't take that chance, because your reputation is at stake, and your finances and your livelihood is at stake. Don't you take that chance. Don't you?
Absolutely.
Moving forward.
Well said, man. Well said.
Next one up. Make sure you guys do me a favor, hit that like button, make sure you share. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our guy, Robert Marvin, donated through Cash App, took the $10 challenge, says, for my favorite brothers. Absolutely. Shout out to you. Shout out to Robert Marvin. Make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. All right? Make sure you do share. Next one up, since we're on this topic about masculinity, toxic femininity, I want to go ahead and speak to you guys about Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's being attacked by the liberal left right now, because he has a new documentary and a book out called Fears Over. No, it's not called Fears. It's called The End of Men. Excuse me. Sorry. I don't know what the hell I was reading. It's called The End of Men. And Tucker Carlson speaks about how masculinity nowadays is lost. Talks about beta men and a whole sort of, how can I say, history when it comes down to how we've gotten this far. Now, the liberal left is attacking him, and they're saying that men, in a sense, are the reasons why we have so much problems here. And Tucker Carlson and men like him need to get with the times. I want you guys to take a look at this. Make sure you guys share. Here we go.
What is it about Tucker Carlson and Trump that want to push pseudoscience when there are actual issues at stake for people's lives?
Absolutely. Such a good question. I think Tucker Carlson and Trump are simple. And very often their accusation is the closest thing we will get to a confession. And what I mean by that is that when they say that progressives don't care about men, what they're really saying, it's often very much a projection. And I know that because I saw Tucker Carlson all week talk about the end of men, right? Talk about all of the pseudoscience that you talked about in your intro, but make no mention of the CDC's report showing that the leading cause of death for children and for adolescents is gun violence. And 86% of those deaths are young boys. And so what's really putting men and boys at risk are issues like gun violence, which Tucker Carlson makes no mention of. And actually, for all his talk about being manly and being masculine and being strong, he refuses to stand up to the gun lobby. And that would be like a big show of strength. And so if Tucker Carlson really cares about men, I implore him to prove it, to show it, to cover those stories that really impact men's health.
Well, Liz, first of all, thank you so much for taking one for the team and going through all of that information so that you can simplify and synthesize it for us, because just that intro to that documentary was a little painful. But Liz, there's something else that you often write about, and it is this connection with looking at being misogynistic, being authoritarian, the connection between the two, and the place women have in that environment. Speak to that and how this documentary basically helps feed into those type of narratives.
Sexism is often talked about in the ways that it impacts women.
I'm going to stop it right here. So, Anthony Allen, very quick clip here. These two feminist women are laughing at the fact that masculinity is going away. They bring a cockamamie argument up. Saying that if Tucker Carlson really cares about masculinity in men, they would be going after the gun lobbyists. They'll be going after the NRA. Anthony Allen, it gets to the point where these people here really don't care about men. They're just being how could I say, sarcastic even in their speech when speaking about this. What do you think about this here, sir?
Yeah, this is cockamamie, as you said so well. We have these woke women. I call them woke-a-nuts. You have these woke-a-nut women trying to define who and what men should be. They want men to be similar and somewhat like women. They want to project a female nature into the nature of a man. And that is godlessness, okay? We know that God, he created the nature of a woman and he created the nature of a man. And these woke-a-nuts, they want to define the nature of a man. But what makes it so horrible is that whenever women define the nature of a man, what do? They want to take boys and have them so confused that these boys will fillet a perfectly good body part and do away with it and paste on a fake female body part. This is what happens when woken up women try to define away God's nature for men. They have no business trying to define that, okay? It was given to us. This is who we are. This is who we are. You know, men fall on hand grenades, okay? That's what men do in war. We fall on hand grenades, okay? That is something that you don't find women thinking about falling on a hand grenade anytime. Now, what these woken up women don't realize that women, they really do like the alpha male. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they really do gravitate towards. This whole idea that women want these girly boys that wear a bun on their head and, you know, earrings and feathers. No, I know and believe and understand, and women can verify this, that women want alpha males, tough guys. You know, I don't have a manicure. You know, I'm doing things in my garage. My fingernails get torn.
Yep.
You know, so I don't have a manicure. You know, sometimes I may go a couple of days without shaving. I have a grubby looking beard. I know when to dress up, you know, and things like that. But you know, like that's just a male's nature. A woman is usually always neat. But you know, man, we have facial hair. We don't want to scrape it off every single day sometimes. And you know, we do things. Our hands get beat up and our nails get torn. We're just different. Okay. And that different doesn't mean that we're inferior either. It's just that God gave us that nature. But you know, men are gritty, men are loud, you know, but I'm telling you that these women are feminists. And there is a difference between a feminist and a feminine woman. And men like feminine women, not feminist women.
Absolutely. You know, ain't that crazy though? This is the main reason why men need to start waking up to a lot of these things here. These women have no problem about putting you down, speaking about how you should behave as a man. And when women speak about how men should behave and treat them, they speak about it from the benefit of a woman. They don't speak about you understand what I'm saying, right? Yeah, they speak, hey, you should treat a woman like this or that. It's all for the benefit of her. It's not for the benefit of reality or for the man. Right? All women should be treated like queens, right? Most women think like this. And I always retort, how about the whores? How about the bitches? Do I have to treat them like queens too? Right? And then all of a sudden that start changing. Right? Because not all the guys say, hey, you must treat all men like kings. We don't do that.
Right.
We understand that there is character. Character means a lot. And that's something that a lot of women don't want to hear. When most men speak about what they don't like in women, it's the character traits that are there, the bitches. I want folks to understand that. And last but not least to this, when it comes down to it, Anthony Allen, these women really don't like men. They just really don't. And that is quite apparent by their analysis, their sarcasm, And even the way they speak about the contributions men have made to this society. They said that because of men, the world is screwed up. How screwed up is it when you're wearing makeup that was made by a man? When you're using a curling iron that was made by a man, right? The best designers when it comes to clothing made by men, right? I want folks to, the best chefs, right? Since women's supposed to be a cooking job, best cookers are men. The best designers, right? Men. So there's a issue here when it comes down to respect and also reality. Last words.
Yes, respect and reality, and you know those contributions that you name. Also, men are the best protectors.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Number
we
one.
know how to fall on grenades. Okay, we know how to take a bullet. We know how to stand up to some crazy maniac trying to hurt women and children. Okay, like the other video that showed the twerking in the park with Elmo, men stand up to that crap and say, "Get the H out of here." You know, men would stop this kind of stuff. And so, you know, like men are very, very much disrespected by feminists, okay, because they want men to be women. Feminine women love the fact that men are tough, men are gritty, men sometimes have a scraggly beard. That's fine with most feminine women because there should be a contrast between a feminine woman and a manly man, you know. So this whole idea, you're exactly right, Jermaine BOTSIO. These woken up women, they really do hate men.
They do, and it's a shame. It really is. Let's go ahead and move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys do me a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. All right, we going to need your gosh darn help. We going to need your help. As you guys can see, the technocrats hate us. They absolutely do. Next one. I want to speak to you about racism. Racism. Anthony Allen, when it comes down to it, in 2022, it started off with a bang, with a whole bunch of race hoaxes. I mean, race hoaxes as far as the eye can see. There's a big story right now in the news that a lot of people are talking about that involves racism. Michelle Obama's brother, liberal elite, sues a Milwaukee school claiming racism. Michelle Obama's brother is on every gosh darn news channel you can think of. Him and his wife. I want to go ahead and run this when it come back. I want to get you guys' take on this. Do you guys believe the story? Or do you think they're using that black card? Here we go.
Craig Robinson and Mrs. Kelly Robinson.
Tonight, Michelle Obama's brother, Craig Robinson, and his wife, Kelly, are suing University School of Milwaukee in River Hills, claiming the school kicked their 3rd and 5th grader out, quote, without prior notice or just cause.
They retaliated with kicking 2 young children out of school.
How did we get to this point?
The Robinsons told 12 News it began last year during virtual learning.
As a result, we got a peek into the classroom, and what we saw was repeated use of racial and ethnic stereotypes in actual class assignments.
He He said one example was using the word plantation. The lawsuit points to a previous fourth grade assignment forcing students to participate in an Underground Railroad simulation. The Robinsons raised concerns.
You thought you were being helpful.
Once we raised those, our kids were summarily dismissed from the school.
In this termination letter, the school alleged the Robinsons, quote, repeatedly engaged in disrespectful and demanding communications with and about our teachers and administrators, despite saying the kids, quote, embody USM's portrait of a graduate. The boys were done.
This is hard. This is hard on all of us, but in particular on these children.
Tuesday, the school wouldn't speak on camera, instead shared a letter they sent to the school community. It says in part, when such parental conduct threatens the educational environment we have created, we have no choice but to take action.
They use the words bullying and harassment to teachers and staff. How do you respond to that?
Now, the tall black guy can't advocate for his kids without being called a bully.
The Robinsons say nearly 40 other families have reached out to them.
Once the former and current parents came out to let us know that they had been through something similar, we felt obligated to not let this happen to folks moving forward.
And Hillary joins us now. Hillary, did the school say anything about the Robinsons' allegations?
Oh, Patrick, they would not comment on specifics. They do have 45 days to formally respond to the lawsuit. And they did say in that community letter today that terminating enrollment is not unprecedented for the school, but is only used as a last resort option.
Hillary Mintz at the Milwaukee County Courthouse tonight.
All right. So Anthony Allen, my goodness gracious, let me tell you, my goodness gracious. Can you guys believe that? So Anthony Allen, ain't this crazy?
Absolutely.
He was
insane.
upset and mad, and he couldn't control his temper. And he threatened school officials. They were so disturbed by his behavior. They decided to get rid of his children too. Good riddance. That's what they said. What do you think about this here, sir? Is it racism, what they're alleging here? Underground Railroad, some BS stuff going on here? What do you think?
Yeah, these are wokenuts, okay? They are entitled wokenuts. They have nothing. These people are entitled. I remember, going through grade school and a certain time of the year or a certain time in the history that we were studying during that time, the Underground Railroad would come up. And of course, the teacher would say, well, this is how it worked. This is how, the Underground Railroad worked. And this is at an all-black school. Okay, so there was nothing racial or hurtful about explaining to children the Underground Railroad, because children, we think of a railroad, a real railroad with a train in it, a mechanical train, and we had to be shown what was meant by the Underground Railroad to free the slaves.
Yep.
So, but what they are really hurt about, and that's the Robinsons, they are hurt that their narrative is being broken.
There you go.
They are hurt that that their children will see that white people were involved in the Underground Railroad. In particular, the Quakers were involved in the Underground Railroad, because these wokenuts, these entitled, liberal wokenuts, the narrative is all white people are racist. All white people did everything they could to keep all black people slaves. And when they were talking about the Underground Railroad, it disproves that narrative that in the Underground Railroad was run by white people trying to free black people. So this is crazy, in which that they would, engage in this kind of activity. There is nothing racial about the word plantation. There is nothing racial about the word chains. There is nothing racial about Underground Railroad. Only to racists people that are so concerned about color.
There you
Most
go.
people, we are concerned about character. And so they want to racialize every term, but they will not racialize the fact that Michelle Obama, she was FLOTUS.
Yep.
She was the first lady. Now, do they want to turn around and say, well, if you say Michelle Obama, well, that's a pejorative because you have to not say that she was black. And so this is getting crazier and crazier when it comes to these entitled wokenut people that feel like they are the ones that set the narrative. But what they're doing is that they are trying to move away from. They don't want the narrative exposed that white people were intimately involved in the freeing of the slaves. And that's what they don't want to be known. So, no, they have nothing. They're just going to spend all their money. And the school is probably correct in getting rid of these children because you can't have parents like them ruining your school when they are trying to teach.
Absolutely. The school did a good job by doing this because they understand that having their children there will cause a big problem. They know this. You're absolutely correct with your assessment. They were offended to hear that the narrative is not what they think it is. Anthony Allen, they believe that white people weren't involved. They believe that, this is the way most black folks think. They believe that only black folks were, in charge of the Underground Railroad. And only black, it doesn't even make sense in that somehow there were a few white people that helped, but other than that, black folks were in charge. No, black folks couldn't do it by themselves. They didn't have the, wherewithal at that time. They needed to have help, white people's help, particularly for it to work. So they didn't like the story at all. They didn't like that their children were being taught a different narrative. And they didn't like the fact that they were hearing this coming from a school they believed was woke. You know that, right? They believed that school was woke. A woke school like that ain't supposed to be teaching Underground Railroad in that manner. No way. I'm the brother of Michelle Obama. No, I can't do that. And you can see that type of arrogance in him when he speaks. Last words, yes. Sir.
Yeah, that's just arrogance. That is exactly correct. Because these racists, I call them racists, because they associate everything racially. Okay. They don't associate character. Everything has to be about race. So you have, great, good white people. They are afraid to say plantation. They are afraid to say cotton picking. They are afraid to say, any word chains that somehow these wokenut crazy liberal blacks will associate with them being racist because they bring up something and they use a phrase. And so this has got to stop. And I hope that the Robinsons lose big time and they need to find another place for their children. But I hopefully this school will continue to teach the truth about things. Because if we go along with the Robinsons, we're just going to spiral down to more and more racial conflict because people like the Robinsons and Michelle and Obama, they are the real racists in our culture, and they are Democrats, and Democrats, they are the party of racists.
100%. 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys do us a favor, hit that like button. Make sure you do share. You guys can see we're streaming and giving you guys the good word. We're going to need your help. So please do your due diligence. hit that like button. Make sure you do share. We want people to see this nonsense. We certainly do. Next one up. I want to speak to you guys about a prosecutor who is facing federal charges. This prosecutor we spoke about various times on our show. Various times. This prosecutor was famous for saying, we're going to give them an area for them to burn. You remember that, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, she's famous. She's the one who started the, hey, we're going to allow the liberals to burn this area. Go ahead, liberals, burn it. Burn it. And we're going to also tell the police to stand down. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Some of you guys remember her. Marilyn Mosby. You guys remember her, right? Yeah, black woman. Remember what happened in Ferguson? I know you guys remember. I know you do. Right? The riots that happened after Mike Brown? Yeah, remember she said, let it burn? No, that's what was it? Ferguson, is that Missouri? I might have got that. Well, it was one of them Negroes out there. She said, let it burn. Shout out to the producer. I want you guys to take a look at this. When it comes back, we'll speak about it. Here we go. Oh, yeah. See, there's too many of the Negroes getting shot nowadays. It's hard to keep up with them. It really is. Take a look at take a look.
New developments in a story we brought you back in February about a big city prosecutor under federal indictment and the stunning and, in my views, unsubstantiated allegations she made against the federal prosecutor leading the case against her. Baltimore City State's attorney Marilyn Mosby was indicted back in January on 2 counts of perjury and 2 counts of making false statement on mortgage applications. She's accused of falsely claiming, quote, adverse financial consequences under a COVID legal exception that was designed to help people cope with the pandemic. She allegedly withdrew money from her City of Baltimore retirement fund, which she wouldn't have otherwise had access to without paying severe penalties, and then purchased a couple of vacation homes in Florida. But the case took a wild turn when Mosby made explosive charges of corruption and racism against the Department of Justice. The Baltimore prosecutor alleging that she is being targeted because she was so effective at fighting for racial justice. Back in February, she found a very receptive outlet to air those claims, completely unchecked, in the form of Joy Reid's program on MSNBC.
I expected as a state's attorney that, fighting for racial justice in the criminal justice system, fighting to end mass incarceration in a state where you have the largest sort of incarceration of Black people in the entire nation, I understood that I was going to get pushback. I never expected the lawsuits, and I never expected to be on this side of the fence when the only thing that I'm attempting to do is to provide equal justice to all, regardless of race, sex, religion, and occupation.
Right. And now, that really has very little to do with the allegations against her. Beyond her broad allegations, Mosby made a more specific claim against the lead prosecutor in the case against her, federal attorney named Leo Wise. Mosby's attorney made a motion to have Wise thrown off the case, alleging he's biased because he donated to the campaigns of 2 of her opponents back in 2018, opponents who she's facing again this July. It's true, Wise gave donations to the 2 candidates, modest donations, about $100 each. But the candidates that he just contributed to are both Democrats. They're not Republicans with starkly different agendas. So Mosby's argument that Wise somehow wanted her out because of her effectiveness on racial justice doesn't really add up when you consider the federal prosecutor's support for other Democrats who hold similar positions. Still, there was this insistence from Mosby that she is a crusader for justice, being targeted by powerful enemies.
I have done things as a prosecutor that a lot of other prosecutors have not done in this country, whether that is holding police accountable when a lot of other prosecutors in this country would not do so, whether that is ending the war on drugs, which we know was a war on black people in the city of Baltimore, whether that is exonerating 12 innocent black men who the criminal justice system was willing and able to allow to rot for cumulatively 300 years in jail for crimes they did not commit. Right? I've done things that would upset the status quo, but to understand and to recognize all that they've attempted to do. I've gotten lawsuits, OIG investigations, state ethics investigations. They've been coming for my law license since I charged those officers in Freddie Gray.
So let's be clear about what she's saying. The Department of Justice, under the watch of a Democratic president, is corruptly prosecuting her on the basis of race and politics. It's a claim which I said at the time deserves the highest degree of scrutiny. Well, now her allegations have been examined and they have been rejected. A federal judge last week ruled against Mosby in an effort to dismiss the case and remove Leo Wise as the prosecutor. U.S. District Judge Lydia K. Grigsby ruled that most of Mosby's claims amount only to, quote, objections or differences of opinions and not actual evidence that she's being unfairly targeted. The judge also ruled that the nominal donations made by Wise to Mosby's opponents didn't prove that the prosecution's motives in this case are corrupt or political. Now, of course, the slam dunk ruling against her did not stop Mosby from continuing to push her now rejected claims outside the courthouse.
They have combed every aspect of my life for the past 2 years. And this is where we are, hundreds and thousands of dollars in debt and attorney's fees, fighting a battle in which they're now coming at me with. They made recommendations for tax evasion on taxes I hadn't even charged yet. This particular prosecutor refused to put exculpatory evidence in front of a grand jury. That's prosecutorial misconduct. And so, yes, I'm going to fight and I'm going to prevail like I always do.
Okay, I have no problem with her
And
laying
let me
out
go
what
ahead
her
and
defense
stop it right here.
Right, about saying why she's innocent.
Let me stop it right here. So, shout out to Dan Abrams. Very, very good reporting here, Anthony Allen. Very good reporting.
Yeah.
So, Marilyn Mosby, she's a crook. She's a crook. This is basically what's going down. And she's saying she's being unfairly targeted. But let's be honest here. The DOJ is a Democrat DOJ. The prosecutor that's quote unquote after her is a Democrat. They're all Democrats. How is this, in a sense,